On the same day, the British press managed to crown one woman a fairy tale heroine and paint another as the villain of the century. Only in tabloid land can you find that kind of acrobatic storytelling. So grab your tea, because this breakdown exposes how the British media keeps the royal fantasy alive by pitting women against each other, and how Meghan Sussex continues to outshine the spin with authenticity and grace. It all started with a glitter-drenched article that turned Kate Middleton into a Disney character. Every gown became a metaphor, every smile a symbol, every blink a sign of divine royalty. She wasn't just a princess, she was a cross between Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, and Elsa from Frozen. The descriptions were so sugary you could almost get a cavity just reading them. But here's the thing, this wasn't just harmless fluff. This was calculated image management. Each adjective was designed to polish the monarchy's fading sparkle and remind the public that the royal family still offers escapist glamour in a year when support for the institution has been slipping, especially among younger Britons. The message was clear. Don't think too much, just sigh dreamily and keep funding the fantasy. And then, mere hours later, the same publication dropped another story, this time about Meghan Sussex. Her supposed crime? Posting a short, harmless Instagram video showing glimpses of her trip to New York. You know, the kind of thing everyone posts. But suddenly it became proof that she's out of touch, obsessed with luxury and living in her own world. The double standard was almost impressive. Kate wears £1,000 gowns and is graceful. Meghan posts a 30-second reel and is showing off. Kate sparkles, Meghan risks backlash. It's not just inconsistent, it's strategic. The media needs its heroine and its villain, its light and its shadow. Without the contrast, the royal fairy tale collapses. The numbers don't lie either. The article about Kate, the magical Disney princess piece, got a modest number of comments. But the piece bashing Meghan Sussex, hundreds upon hundreds of them. Outrage sells faster than admiration. That's the business model. The tabloids know that if they can stir anger or judgment, people will click, share and comment, and those comments translate into ad revenue. So Meghan becomes the perfect lightning rod, the woman people love to argue about. The same system that praises one woman's dress, choices as a matter of national pride, turns another woman's personal video into moral controversy. It's not journalism, it's clickbait wrapped in velvet. Now let's talk money, because this is where it gets truly ironic. Meghan Sussex actually earns her own income. She works, she writes, she produces, she builds. She and Harry have built businesses, charities and media projects that function independently of royal funding. They've built a life by choice, not by inheritance. Meanwhile, Kate's lifestyle, from homes to wardrobe to travel, is largely funded by the British public. The sovereign grant, the taxpayer-backed royal allowance, is projected to rise into the hundreds of millions in coming years. Yet somehow, the person who works for her success is branded as entitled, and the one whose expenses are publicly covered is portrayed as humble. That's not irony, that's manipulation. And it's built on the assumption that the audience won't question the structure, as long as the fairy tale feels cozy. Underneath all this is a very old story, a racial and cultural one. When the media describes Kate's whiteness, it's wrapped in words like pure, elegant, and timeless. But when they talk about Meghan Sussex, a biracial woman with confidence and independence, suddenly those same qualities become controversial, divisive, or attention-seeking. It's the same colonial lens repackaged for the digital age. The message is that one version of womanhood is acceptable and the other is threatening. The contrast is what keeps the clicks flowing and the old power structures comfortably in place. And yet, the thing they keep forgetting is that Meghan walked away. She's not in their system anymore. She chose autonomy over approval, purpose over privilege. That's not rebellion, that's evolution. She's not out of touch, she's just out of reach from a machine that survives on controlling the narrative. The press can't stand that they no longer have her on their royal payroll of public image. They can't frame her story unless they twist it, so they do what they do best: exaggerate, distort, and distract. Meanwhile, the monarchy gets to maintain its pristine PR through contrast. Kate's the angel in satin, Meghan's the rebel in headlines. It's the oldest PR trick in the book. Create a good girl, bad girl dynamic and let the public pick sides while the institution remains untouchable. But here's the truth. This whole setup benefits only the media and the monarchy. The rest of us are being sold recycled fairy tales, so no one asks tougher questions about cost, purpose, or power. Let's pause for a quick reality check. The Daily Mail and other tabloids aren't impartial observers. They're image brokers, selling sentiment and outrage as products. They know exactly what they're doing, building engagement through contrast and emotion. They dress it up as journalism, but it's marketing disguised as moral commentary. The double standard is the content, and it's deliberate. Without Meghan to criticize, there's no tension to drive the clicks. She's become the indispensable villain in a story that only exists because she dares to live freely. But here's where it all falls apart for them. People are waking up. Audiences are seeing through the glitter. They're realizing that grace doesn't come from tiaras or titles. It comes from truth, resilience, and integrity. Meghan Sussex represents that shift, a woman who refused to be scripted by an outdated system and instead chose to write her own story. And Harry? He's the partner who stood by her, choosing love, family, and independence over centuries of institutional pressure. That's not weakness, that's courage. The tabloids can keep spinning their fairy tale fantasies, but outside that echo chamber, a new generation is paying attention. They don't want headlines that vilify women for existing. They want authenticity, accountability, and empathy, things that don't fit neatly into the royal PR machine. And that's why Meghan's story continues to matter, because she represents progress in a space obsessed with perfection. So let's call it what it is. The monarchy's survival depends on contrast. The perfect princess in white and the problem woman in colour. It's outdated, tired, and transparent. It's time we stop letting tabloid editors dictate who's the hero and who's the villain. Kate isn't Cinderella. She's a privileged woman, living in luxury, funded by the state. Meghan isn't the villain. She's a self-made woman building her own life outside that system. That's not out of touch. That's modern independence, the very thing the institution fears most. At the end of the day, Meghan Sussex represents everything that challenges the old narrative: independence, diversity, and the freedom to define yourself. And that's exactly why the tabloids can't let her go. They need her image to sell outrage, and they need outrage to sell ads. But every time they try to drag her down, they reveal more about their own biases than about her. The fairy tale formula only works if you believe it, and let's be honest, fewer and fewer people do. So, as we wrap this up, remember this: Grace doesn't live in glossy magazine covers. It lives in authenticity. Meghan Sussex doesn't need to be anyone's princess because she's already the author of her own story. And no amount of media spin can change that. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, share and subscribe to Sussexes Unfiltered for more real talk about royal hypocrisy, media manipulation, and the truth behind the headlines. Drop a comment below and tell us what you think. Are you seeing through the double standards too? Until next time, stay bold, stay kind, and never stop questioning the spin.